You're listening to Making Art Work, a series about people who live in the space in between passion and profession. I'm Rob Heslop, and in each episode we ask what it really means to create, survive and thrive as an entrepreneur. Today's episode is with Akshay Sharma, also known as Mr Shay. Shay is a multidisciplinary artist, a poet, beatboxer, rapper, producer and community practitioner rooted in Leicester. His work has developed out of an accumulation of not only skills he's built, but also things that he genuinely enjoys. And I think that's the holy grail for a creative. He's invested in bringing people together through creative writing and performances and workshops that explore various themes suited to whatever setting he finds himself in. All of this started with a one-off school project that turned into a decade-long career in music, poetry and education. We talked about collaboration, creative resilience and energy, and how to build your work into your life that both uplifts young people and the wider community, whilst enabling you to grow as a business, which is a tricky line to balance on.
Well, you got some big speakers, isn't it?
I know. They're limited edition Akai RPM 800s, which I bought with my first ever freelance gig in, what was that, 2012, 13, when I did the music for Curve at the Richard III reinterment ceremony. They did like a big performance, which was like the Richard III battle.
Oh,
And they commissioned me, even though at the time I didn't know it was commissioned. I thought I was just getting involved and was just happy to be there.
And here's your payment, Rob.
And then, after the thing, it was amazing. So it was the day after the Queen and Benedict Cumberbatch was there. So it wasn't like the event, but it was the next one. And I think like
For the B-list celebrities.
who was then Prince Charles, was there.
Oh, sick.
And
At Curve?
other people, no, at the cathedral in town.
Sorry, yes.
And it was mad. I was up on the balcony playing QLab off my laptop with all these sound effects and music that I'd layered and stuff.
Yeah.
Drum and bass. But it was all made with sound effects of swords slashing and horses. And so it was that like
was
like horse.
oh,
It was pretty nice.
that's sick.
Rehearsals.
Experimental sound design, production.
The rehearsals of playing it in the cathedral was a bit like, this is weird.
The cathedral are up for mad things, you know.
Yeah.
More and more so now.
They've done loads of stuff lately.
Really
Cool.
They had the moon, the big moon. They had the big moon installation, and Lulu did yoga. Did you see, bro? The cathedral, they projection mapped it during can't remember what.
Thingy Festival. Journeys Festival?
Yeah, no, not Journeys, but
Was
they
it?
probably did. Oh, was it Journeys?
Is it the Bring the Pain thing?
Maybe.
No, Graphwork. We're just saying words.
But it was. They had tags all across the building.
Yes.
That was, and then they set it on fire.
What?
As in, like, there was fire.
Graphics.
Yeah. The whole. Now the cathedral just
No,
burst down.
that was fine.
But the when they set fire to the cathedral, like graphically, and it was just like, holy crap.
I saw a little bit of that. I didn't know what was going on. We went to... we were filming for Inspirate, because they did part... So it was the Richard III 10-year anniversary.
Oh, okay.
That nicely segues, like, closes a loop, doesn't it? And they did a procession through town with these leaves that kids have been making in workshops, and it was all about your initials and stuff.
Yeah.
With Kieran on it. Kieran
Yes.
We filmed that process of being made. We filmed the procession through Leicester, and then it stopped at the cathedral, and they did a big archway of all the leaves at the visitor centre. So I was filming that being put up, and turn around and there's huge like projection mapping and stuff.
Mad.
It's wild.
Mad.
It was amazing.
I know what my one was. It was the balloons. No, the big balls. What?
The what?
The inflatable stuff. What was that?
I didn't see that.
On Jubilee Square, like these big balls.
Yeah, Light of Leicester.
Thank you, Light of Leicester. That's what it
That
was.
whole area is actually
Sick.
got a lot going on.
So
They
sick.
used that for Asian Summer Festival last year as well, the outdoor cinema, which is amazing.
Jubilee Square.
Yeah,
Yeah. Sick. So good, bro.
it was amazing. Anyway, mate,
How you doing?
thanks for coming on.
I'm sweating already.
Into it. Oh, mate, it's probably the hottest day of the year. Isn't it like equinox tomorrow or something?
Is it? Right.
These leather seats don't help. We've known each other for a while now, mate. I remember, so it was at Pedestrian on, not Concept, something else.
Yeah.
Pitch Perfect or
Perfect score?
Perfect Score. That was it. So
yeah.
I came in as an instrumentalist.
Yeah.
And
With a ponytail.
with a band button.
I rated it.
Thanks, man. So you didn't have to. But
I was aspiring to have one as well at the time.
yeah,
Obviously, that didn't go too well.
it was a short-lived dream for me at all, mate. It just made the hairline way worse.
Pulled it back,
Way
bro.
quicker.
Scraped it off your forehead.
So we, the whole time, you weren't there for the first 2 days. You were off gallivanting somewhere, and everyone was like, "Oh, wait till Shay gets here. Shay's gonna bring the energy. Shay this, Shay that." And I remember being like, "Who is this guy that they're all talking about?" And then the moment you walked in, you were like, "Yo!" I'm like, "Oh, okay,
That was Concept.
that's Shay."
I think that was Concept. Yeah.
That's it.
I remember now clearly. So yeah, that's mad. That was 7 or 8 years ago. So that was like near the start of that whole project happening. And I remember coming in and all of us working like solidly together on that project. I think that was wicked. And then I remember took you home.
Yeah,
Took you home.
yeah.
Give you a little lift to was it Beeley's? Is it Beverly's?
Exactly. Which was around the corner from your mum's house.
That's still
And we realised that we grew up in pretty much the same place.
Exactly. And I remember chatting to you in the car outside your mom's house. And I think we just stayed there for about, I don't know, an hour or something, just chatting. And you were telling me about this new camera rig thing where you like put a rope across a car through a window and you let it fall through. And little did we know that like your love for, I guess, camera work and stuff. Because I was doing music videos at the time. I think there was a point like early on where I was dabbling in music videos and like just filming like local artists and stuff like that. So we definitely resonated with that. And but you were doing music at the time, and you had a double-decker bus.
Yeah,
Single decker that you were trying to do off as well. Random starting points. And then look at that, 8 years later, Rendah, bro.
A lot has happened in that time.
A lot.
So it's interesting. I think we're both from a background of just having like creativity and artistry kind of running through our veins and just needing to do that. And through that, we've kind of meandered through loads of different, like you were saying, video.
Yeah.
I did music composition, like still do that, but kind of lent into doing that more for a while. And then eventually it's kind of crystallized into this now where we work on projects together all the time. We've got different associates who also bring us into different, so we're always kind of in the same circles and beyond. But in Leicester, it's that kind of thing of once you know someone who knows someone, like that's it, you're in.
It's so localized, and like you were saying, in terms of having like a broad skill set in a creative field. Although I don't do film anymore, I understand what's involved. For example, if you're filming me, I'll clock what you're trying to do really quickly. So it's nice to have those. It's nice that I'm really glad that I got to have the experience of doing the filmmaking, learning about video production as well. Although I don't do it as much now, you still have an understanding across the spectrum in it. So that's why we work so well.
Yeah.
So well, isn't it?
And so helpful to know that from the other, when you're working with someone who's like, I was going to say media trained, not media trained, but knows what you're about to do with the camera or what audio levels need to be like or how that's going to work.
Exactly.
It's so much smoother because everyone's on the same page. And I think it works the same way round when I was editing your Shambhala set, because I know musically what's going on as well.
Yes.
Being able to piece it all together like that.
And chop things to the beat.
Yeah.
It's crazy how many videographers don't do that. you know, like synchronize stuff to the beat.
Yeah.
Like a simple thing like that. Just to have the knowledge around, okay, this is where the beat drops, or this is like the snare pattern, so I'm going to do this chop around the snare pattern. There's little nuances like that, innit?
Yeah, massively.
Really good to be able to understand that.
I think you notice it straight away if someone is just doing it in quite basic, like 4 on the floor.
Exactly.
Chop.
Exactly,
Yeah.
bro. Exactly. And I think like what you said about everyone knowing each other in Leicester, it is like that. And we've been around like similar projects. We've actually brought in other creatives, like for example, Kieran. We both know Kieran Vias through his film work stuff. Like I started off, he was recording my music videos early on when I first started, when I was trying to be a music artist.
And sick, by the way, that
good time.
Poseidon rhythm or whatever.
Yeah,
that was some next level visuals. I can imagine the meeting when you were like, right, I want to come out of a lake and be like a lake monster, and I wanted to be Kieran being like,
you're mad, you're gonna do it. But like just a little connection like that, and how it's kind of full circled where you two collaborate quite a lot on projects together. And I feel like in Leicester, like collaboration, there's so many people doing similar things. Not everyone does collaborate, but when they do, or if they're willing to, then you just get A teams, like serious A teams. And I think everyone should collaborate, you know, like creatively, you know, from filmmakers collaborating with filmmakers. Why not?
100%. I think there's been like a big shift maybe over the past couple of years where everyone's gone from silo working and being in their own lane because of a sense of like competition or threat, or like kind of all after the same work.
Yeah.
To the realization that it's not like that at all. And the landscape is so broad that everyone has a bit of a niche, and there might be occasional competitiveness when you're like applying for a certain like bid or commission or whatever.
Yeah.
But really everyone sits really comfortably in that. I've noticed that when we moved into Phoenix here 2 years ago now, a bit more than that.
Yeah, you're literally on a floor with what? How many filmmakers? Loads.
Oh mate, bunch of production companies. I shout them out: Orange Fox, Image Nova, Created by 10. I think there's more. Sorry, other guys. I can't remember right now.
And you're all surviving together.
Yeah. But I moved in and was just like, oh, it's like the big dogs now. Like, you kind of like fighting for work, and everyone's just not like that. Or you quickly realise that everyone has their own little core client group. Everyone's nicely rooted in Leicester, but in different ways. Like the Created by 10 guys do film Leicester, so that's their kind of community engagement. Image Nova are really kind of ingrained in that behind the scenes documentary stuff on like big kind of commercial stuff with Sony, and everyone's got like their solid things and they're all comfortable in that, to the point where even though we don't necessarily collaborate, like we share kit all the time and everyone's in a group chat and it's really friendly. And I think it kind of dispels that myth of like that creatives need to be protective over what they have, because realistically no one's a threat to that. If you're authentically you and doing what you authentically do,
you slip into your own lane automatically. From the get-go, when I started doing music production, delivery, all the kind of educational delivery that I do, from the get-go it was like, all right, I'm going to work with as many organizations as possible in Leicester. I guess sometimes you can be put in a box and say, oh yeah, Shay, he just works with these guys, and because they've seen me do a project with them. But actually I've never ever wanted to be, or have never tried to put myself in a box where I'm just going to collaborate with these certain organizations. It's like I'm ready to work with everyone, and I have done that for 10 years. And I think there's so much, you know, it's so enriching to be able to do a project with these guys, do a project with these guys, do a project with these guys, because they've all got a mission which is community based. It's all community focused. So it doesn't matter who you're collaborating with, as long as you're doing your bit for your city. You know, like it's all about Leicester, it's all about young people, it's all about whatever the twist is on the project or the organization. You're still up in your city, you know, you're still trying to make the young people have better access to music, for example, or tell that story about their community, or do this. So yeah, that whole cliquey thing, I just have never got it. Yeah, never understood it.
Yeah. I think it is just a bit of a kind of immature mindset. I don't know if that sounds.
It's like playground antics. They're like playground
kind of feeling of like at school where it's like, oh, that's my best friend.
Friend with me. You can't play with that guy. He's my friend.
But it's not like the community dimension is a huge thing with a lot of the organizations that we work with. Are or have been introduced to us through people in another organization. So it's like, oh, I'm doing this at like so and so in the weekend. You should come along. You should meet so and so.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, you're kind of like across the board working with all of them. There's no one's like threatened there. It's not like, oh, they've got Shay, so we can't do that anymore.
Exactly.
It's like, that's amazing that he's continuing that over there.
Yeah.
Did it with us as well, but there's like you said, a different twist to it.
Now, once you've got it all connected in your city, then what's to stop you from moving out to other cities? Like, it's not, you don't even have to stay in your city. Like, do work as much as you can. I feel like as an artist doing education and delivery, the aim is to, I don't know, go worldwide. Like, just do more projects in more places. You know, you have to stay in Leicester. You work with as many organizations as you can. There should be no limits. That's the point. There should be no limits. So when people try to, you know, put limits on other artists or other people, other organizations, it's all BS, bro. Like, just do it and spread your seed, man.
100%. I think that's what Leicester does really well at the minute. Like, there's a huge push on the creative talent in Leicester being presented on like a global stage.
Yeah.
There's people who are, like, again, that word competing, but in a different kind of sense on that, on those higher platforms where it's like, you know, there's agencies in Leicester that taking the bids off huge like corporations over London agencies. And it's because of the kind of creative twists they put on it, which I guess is supported by the backdrop of Leicester. Yeah. But just to come back to your origins with it.
Yes.
Because you've got a massive skill set. You got a number of different tool belts and different hats that you just kind of slip on at different points. You also had to grapple with like the direction that you wanted to take your life in at one point. What was the kind of driving force that made you pick the kind of route that you did?
A big question, massive question. First of all, Idris Elba recently had a quote put down on, you know, like when you get it paved in the pavement. It was outside his old music, so performing arts school or college, and he revisited that as he's an ambassador there. And it says, the quote says, I think it's, "Don't get labelled. Labels are for cans." Idris Elba. That's there forever now.
It's like he made that up on the train there.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
He's just drinking a can of
labels are for cans. But I resonated with it massively, and I'm sure a lot of people do with like multiple strings to their bow. Again, it's about being occasion to one thing and going, do you know what? I'm not just that. Like Idris is he's a DJ, actor, musician, MC, director. You know, all of that stuff. So, yeah. Letting that multi-stringed bow become the superpower instead of just going, oh, I can't do that because I do this thing. But sorry, that was a tangent. Rewinding back to the
perfect foundation to go with the story on.
Yeah, exactly. All of the things we've accumulated. So basically, started back in as a kid, as a primary school. I always was torn between like sciences and the arts. I remember like my cousins in India would go visit them, and they were like doctors and training to be surgeons, and they had all the, you know, all the kit. There's a cupboard, he opened it, one of my cousins opened his like medical kit, and there's like all these tools and all this cool like surgery equipment. I was like, yeah, that looks cool. Like, I wanna be able to do that, and you know, I want to walk in their footsteps. I'll be a doctor as well or something. I don't know. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a cardiologist. I'm talking about when I was in year 5. I thought, oh, that's what I wanted to do. It looked interesting. And then like I was always acting, always like doing talent shows as a kid because I always had this passion. I think I get that from my mum. Like she was always performing as a young person, dancing, acting. My dad's always been quite a bold personality as well, quite a funny guy, but he was more, I think, more studious, more like academic. I was good at academia, but I didn't thrive. I got good grades because I could revise. Like revision was fine. I could spew back facts at you, but I couldn't retain that information for that long. Whereas acting and drama, I could do that to the cows came home, and it was always the thing that set me on fire. Set my soul on fire. Hopefully I don't get set on fire. Set my soul on fire. And so when it came to make a decision about, you know, what do you want to do, I could never decide whether it was going to be the science or the arts, because the arts for me was always like this dream. I wanted to become an actor, and it was always like this, oh, are you sure you want to do that? You want to be a bit more careful with your choices? Is it stable enough? Whereas science is, yeah, go on, you'll go down this medical route, become a doctor, happy days, innit? I was always torn between that. Long story short, I decided to choose medicine. Funny enough, I did choose medicine as the career in college, and I went on like different places to get work experience, like pharmacy, dental practice, optometry, opticians, and then I spent time in a surgery. Spent time in a hospital, Glenfield Hospital. And you know what? One thing was for certain, I realized what I didn't want to do. It wasn't for me. Like, it was not. I'm scared of blood. So I don't know what I was thinking. I saw an operation with a kneecap replacement. Out of all the young people there, like they saw like the knee get split in half. Like, if you've seen a kneecap replacement, it's horrendous.
Out straight away.
I'm out, bro.
I don't want to see that.
I'm hot. I'm sweating. I was the only person who needed to sit down and leave the room, innit? I thought from then on, I know this ain't for me, innit? So I don't know what I was thinking. So I decided to go, do you know what? I'm gonna take a quick exit here. I got the interview at Leicester University, where I wanted to go to study medicine. I ended up pulling out and following my heart and going, do you know what? I'm going to do something creative. But I still had the fear of what I really wanted to do is perform on stage, in films, I don't know, be a presenter, something like that. But I was still too scared to do that, because even in the kind of, what's the word here, the continuum of the arts, that was still too scary to do. So I decided to go, right, what's more stable in the arts? I also liked visual arts. So I decided to pursue graphic design. It's different to like the performing what I wanted to do, but in my head I was like, visual communication is more needed in society, and people will give me a job if I do visual communication. Graphic design, there's more like application to it in the world.
Yeah. So it's like you found the Venn diagram.
Yes.
Between the kind of stability of a doctorate.
Yeah, exactly.
The kind of expression of artistry, but the commercially viable midsection in between.
Exactly. What can I say to my parents that's not going to drop them on the floor? I'm not becoming a doctor. Do you know what? I'm going to do halfway point, and hopefully that's less of a blow.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to university, going to get a degree.
Ease them in.
Yeah.
And then go on off.
Oh, by the way, but I'm still doing this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I went to study like the turning point was after college. Actually, it was because of medicine that I do what I do now, if I'm truly honest with it. To get into university, I chose to do a project called the Extended Project Qualification. It was an additional course at college where you get extra UCAS points. It helped me in a very competitive field, which was medicine at the time. And they said, I want you to do an assignment, do some research, and present your findings in some interesting ways. So something to do with science. So I went, okay, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do this about something current amongst my friend group and people of my age. And that was like puberty, relationships, and sexual health. Yeah. So I took it upon myself to go, I'm going to research into that. And I'm going to ask different health organizations what the stats are on young people of my age getting into trouble through like not protecting themselves, for example. All of these interesting things that were happening around me. And, you know, teenage pregnancies, relationships, and how to like look after yourself. I did all this research, did a little study on it, and to present your findings, you could do anything. And I said, I'm going to combine my love for science and performing arts, and I'm going to create a one-man performance. So my one-man performance was me dressing up in like half this phase, half that phase, different characters. And it followed the life of a young man who didn't look after his sexual health, maybe say, and he gets into a bit of trouble. And it was a comedy, but with a really serious outcome at the end. And a lot of the people that I asked and interviewed at the time, they said, this is peer education. You're educating people of your own age bracket for a funny, creative, I was like dancing in it, beatboxing it. It was all my talents that I had accumulated as a kid, rapping, messages at the end. And it was essentially a theatre and education. I didn't know it as theatre. I didn't know theatre and education was a thing here at that time. I was about 16. And they go, this, you're onto something. And they went, would like you, like two weeks later, I get a phone call from their health professionals, and they said, would like you to perform at our next health conference happening at the Tiger Stadium. How much do you charge? And I went, I ain't got a clue, mate. I have no, like, but you want to pay me though?
Yeah.
Mad. So that was the first penny drop moment. So I guess it was because of trying to get into medicine and doing it creatively, like doing the course creatively, that led me to this weird, again, the Venn diagram is this niche spot in the middle. So yeah, I went and did this performance in front of hundreds of health professionals as a 16, 17, maybe 18 at the time year old, still in college. And that was the birth of the underground creators, what I do now. And it was about a year, the next 2 years after that is what really shaped me, because at the time I came out of college, there was Curve Theatre. They were doing a thing called the Young Arts Entrepreneurs Program at the time. And they was like, we'll give you funding, we'll give you business support, and we'll give you the time and expertise to set up a creative business.
Wow, that's huge.
So I went, this is my creative business. I want to do theatre and education.
Yeah.
Like, I want to set up a business, going to schools, doing this kind of thing with a message and educating young people. Let's do it. And that was it. It kind of set me off on this trajectory.
Amazing. So you just kind of amalgamated all of your life experience at that point into a performance, which I guess is like a really nice kind of raw artistic expression of where you were at and all your thinking and everything that was happening. And you kind of subconsciously found an audience for it.
Totally by accident. Exactly. Yeah. Totally by accident.
Because that was one of the main kind of considerations, isn't it? Is like, are you educating your audience, entertaining? Like, what is the kind of purpose of what you're doing?
Yeah.
It's funny that you didn't even go into it with the purpose. I just saw a dance in beatbox about sexual health, and it landed, and you got commissioned.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think the golden spot was that nobody was doing it. Like, nobody was addressing sexual health because it's a taboo subject.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to talk about sexual health in front of their parents and other people. So
it's awkward, isn't it? It's awkward for young people. It's awkward for people teaching young people about it.
They don't want to teach it, so let's get this young man to teach them instead, in a way that they actually understand. So I think that was it. And after that, I realized that actually the music, the performing arts, the rap, the beatbox, all of these elements, they're simply vehicles to translate a message. And that's when the penny dropped. Wait, what? Now I can change the message into many different types of things, but still use the roots of music and performing arts.
Yeah.
And that's when the subject matter started to change, anti-bullying in schools, did the thing about anti-littering, pollution, these social topics and messages, but through things that young people like to hear and be involved in.
Really clever, man. I think as from our perspective now, understanding like what goes together in like a business plan or pitch like that, it has all the right kind of components. It's things that it's hard to do now. Yeah, like to define what your values and your message are, and putting together something that you can present to the world in a way that has kind of touch points to it that people recognize and relate to. So how did that evolve into? Because at the minute you can kind of pick and choose from a kind of assortment box of like, I could just be a spoken word poet, beatboxer,
feel like
a host, an MC, like whatever. You've just got such a broad range of skills and also kind of dimensions to your professional persona. From that kind of like springboard moment of being like, oh, that works. That's like an incredible formula that uses all of those skills that we can actually use to kind of make money. What was the defining moment where you were like, because a lot of creatives go through that kind of like part-time work or doing a job that they don't love to fund the creativity. What was that like for you? And what was the tipping moment where you were like, actually, I'm going to go full-time freelance?
Yeah, it's a great question, man. Like, I remember it vividly. In my education, so I was at university studying graphic design and illustration, which I really enjoyed, but it's not something that I ever dreamt of doing. I was like, I'm glad I did it. But all the while I was working a restaurant job. I remember cutting salad in the kitchen thinking, oh man, can't wait until I'm doing my own thing with freedom and doing the arts. And I just want to be doing the arts full time. I want to get out of this kitchen. It's a fun job, very stressful though, but you know, it's good to have that etiquette of, you know, that you're working part-time, you learn so many skills there, but I just like want to get out of that or do my own thing. I remember being hungry for it. And then one day I just went, no, the timing just aligned, because that was when those courses were on, like the Young Arts Entrepreneurs. That's when funding came in to help me. And with the funding to buy things, I went, cool, I've got that platform now. I can buy some equipment and I can go out there and do my thing. There was a whole thing around that switch moment where, okay, I didn't know I could provide a service to make money. I just didn't know that as a young person. I just thought you had to sell a product to have a business, had to have something tangible to sell. But the service idea, I could give an experience, an educational experience to make money. That's when I was like, okay, this can go somewhere. So with that project, the Young Arts Entrepreneurs Project, they helped you with a business plan as well. So that helped me to go, like, you know, that business side of things that I had never learned. I didn't take business as a young person. It was all brand new to me, you know, accounts. They covered everything. And as a, like, I think 18 at the time, I was like, right, this is a lot. But now I know it.
Yeah.
I could actually try and do this.
Yeah, and it's stuff that you just don't engage with at school. Because it's like, unless you are really interested in that, I think it's just so boring. Or like I did anyway.
I just found it dead.
Economics, business, all of that.
I still find it dead.
Not into it.
Yeah.
And then suddenly later on you're like, oh, that's the way the world works. I should have really...
You kind of have to do
the
it.
fundamentals to it at least.
Yeah, exactly that. And it's still the least favorite part of my job. You know, it's still the least, like, accounts, you know, the business model, where am I heading? Is I just want to deliver and just be on the ground and just having these, giving great experiences to these young people, play music, to do the creative stuff. But like you say, you know, with the kind of picking and choosing part, that's always been my problem. Had always been, when I was younger, I loved many things, and I didn't know how to, you know, like, focus and move forward. I'd always spread myself too thin. But I think it's taken the last 10 years to go, actually, labels are for cans. I can exceed. There was a quote that Lulu keeps reminding me of, and she says, my wife, by the way, she says, you can be, she reminds me of the quote, should I say, you can be a jack of all trades, but master of none. But then you can be the master of being a jack of all trades as well. That's not how the quote goes, but that's my interpretation of it.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I want to master, and I feel like I've gone on the way to master being a jack of all trades. So, like, yes, I can do a lot of things, but I can do them bloody well. But the advantage is I can do all of the things. Not that I can do this one thing really well. And I always used to have imposter syndrome around that. Like, oh, there's beatboxers out there who are like world champions. They're so sick at that. And, oh, I didn't know that actually they learned an instrument as well. They're not just beatboxers. They can learn an instrument, and they've really put time into that. What am I trying to do? Why am I doing it? But then I can do this, and this as well, which they maybe can't do. But at the level that I'm working at in terms of in education, that's all I need to know, because I'm trying to do grassroots engagement. You know, a young person, if you go there and just show off at them, it's just like, oh, I can't do that yet, though. And it makes the young person feel like, wow, I've got a long way to go yet. Obviously, it's good to, like, inspire and allow them to aspire to be like you, but they just need a basic understanding of stuff. And I feel like that's what I did. I got a basic understanding of all these art forms and went, that's what I'm going to, you know, be a master of, teaching the basics.
Yeah, amazing. And it's becoming a master of like a context. I think that trades thing. First of all, I heard like an extension of that quote recently.
You probably get it right.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm working on it. But it was something like master of all, oh no, jack of all trades, master of none. But being au fait with all trades is like better than one.
That's the one.
It's something like that.
Yeah.
Where it's about actually the more that you understand, like the richer your kind of tapestry is, even though you're not like really sick of that one thing, which is fine because some people do that.
Yes.
Like, you know, you're never going to be first violin in a symphony orchestra. And it's like that shit thing.
Yeah.
Breathe. But I think in you as a mindset, and kind of looping back to what we were saying earlier, I'm a filmmaker, but I understand the music
Yeah,
to understand performing arts and what it's like to be on a stage or being in those kind of environments, and that shapes the way that I make the film more. It's the same with you, like everything that you understand the context of education and how things sit within it, and that influences the way that you deliver a workshop so that you can bring in lots of different elements and it still works.
Yes, and it's that breadth of knowledge that helps you there. But like I said, you know, the imposter syndrome thing, it always kicks in because I'm a music educator primarily. Obviously, I like to be an artist. We'll talk about being an artist in a sec. But as a music educator, I'm next to those people that have gone ham in that field, in that instrument, and they are incredible at playing that instrument. And I go, why am I here? Like, I didn't go to music school. I haven't been classically trained. I didn't learn an instrument. Everything I learned was with my cousins in London. Well, they were like learning to rap because we watched it on the TV and it was the thing at the time, the grime and hip hop. So then I picked it up as a hobby and loved it, and then started messing on like cracked versions of music software to produce. That self-taught in the studio at home thing, we didn't consider that to be like an avenue for music. It was just a side thing, right? So then when I've made it into a legitimate career doing music, I'm thinking, what am I doing here? But then I always have to remember that, you know, your lived experience and pathway is what is your superpower, right? So that's become my superpower of, yes, I didn't train, but neither did half the kids here. But now they're hooked on beatboxing or rap or music production or representing those art forms that didn't you stereotypically have a classical root, right? So then it's like you carve yourself an avenue, and that's where you sit, and that's where like I said, that's different to putting yourself in a box though, because you've carved yourself a lane which is away from all the other stuff. That's become your focus, but you've still got loads of strings to your bow at the same time. So I think that was kind of the sweet spot where you can end up and actually be successful as well.
And the most important thing is like, it's your lane.
Yeah.
Like you have that, and it can kind of dip into other ones, and you know how instrumentalists work or whoever.
Yes.
It feeds into all of that.
Exactly.
And no one else will have that unique kind of path that you've kind of carved for yourself.
Nobody can be you better than you can.
Yeah.
That's another thing, isn't it?
Just got to work out how to monetize that.
Yeah. How do you monetize you?
When you're delivering in a school and you have young people who are in that same kind of position where they think, I've got to be a master of like a trade, you can be like a living example, a living case study of just like, no, it's cool, man. You can still make your way by absorbing what you want to.
I get called into, a good example is my old school, Saw Valley. I used to do talks there for their like career day, when they have a think about what professional pathways they want to go down, and I was there as a kind of reassuring voice that said, hey guys, I didn't have a clue what I wanted to do. It was the opposite. I wanted to do everything. So I was in a way where I didn't know what I wanted to pick. I wasn't 100% confident. It was this or that, you know. So for me to go in there and go, look guys, I was in that position. I didn't have an answer a year after where you are now. I didn't have an answer a year after that. It all just kind of slotted into place. Here I am now, and I'm somewhat stable. I made a career out of it, 10 years deep.
Yeah.
So
I guess that's the sticking point for a lot of maybe the teachers in those settings.
Yeah.
Where they're really encouraging finding a career that you know you're going to be able to make like a good living from. That's always the question around the arts, isn't it? It's just like, how are you going to be successful in that? And there's this kind of misconception about, unless you're famous, you haven't really kind of made it in the arts. But there's a huge spectrum of industries that all support each other in the arts, that are like renowned for, like the entertainment industry in the UK is renowned globally. Everyone knows that is like one of the biggest sectors that is not only one of the most loved maybe across the world, and making huge gems now, also one of the most like commercially successful.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money in film and TV and dance and theatre.
there is, but and it's the truth. And I'd say the misconception in that though is that or I can just pick a creative career because there are so many jobs out there. I'll just slot in happily, like I would if I was a doctor that graduated from medical school. It is incomparable because there is truth to the fact that if you go down maybe a more academic route, it's more structured. Therefore, you know, you do this, you do these exams, you do this course, and boom, I've got those qualifications now. I could probably get a job tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying it's that easy. Absolutely not.
But it's predefined in that way.
Yes,
yeah.
it's
You know that
predefined.
if you get like a PhD,
I'm going that way.
you're gonna tick the boxes for a bunch of different roles that you can get into.
Exactly that. Whereas, I think if you're choosing the arts, and this is what I say to the young people on those kind of progression days, you have to have the minerals. You have to, for want of a better phrase, you have to have that hunger, that autonomy to go, I'm getting off my arse and I'm about to approach bare people. I'm about to get myself known and I'm about to get my presence heard. Because that's what you have to do in such a saturated field. Like you say, there's so much out there. It's a good thing, but then it's oversaturated at the same time. So how are you going to speak out and how are you going to like pave your way, like we said?
Yeah.
And then the other thing is you've got to be good. You've got to be good. Maybe I'm a helpless romantic in saying you have to still be good at your trade in an environment where, yes, you can post something silly on Instagram or TikTok and just slap it and become famous. Like, that's not necessarily being good. Or is it? Is that you being really good at playing the system of the algorithm?
It's the same mechanics. I think it's your identity and the way that you've become visible to that audience.
True.
Is the same kind of method in a way. Like if you're really good at making people laugh, if you've got a really suitable kind of palatable persona for social media that people respond to well, cool, that's like a way to make a success out of that, whatever success looks like. And it's the same, I think that's transferable for creatives as well. Just trying to relate it to like that typical academia route as well. Like if you went for a doctor's job, I guess you have the same thing in like an interview. You have to present yourself in a certain way, you have to come across as knowledgeable. There's very different things that you have to present in that scenario because it's more like an exam where you have to regurgitate information that makes you know that you're a suitable candidate. But ultimately it is that kind of quality that you're talking about.
Yes.
You have to make it look sick to catch people's attention.
You have to have something about you still. You have to still have that hook factor. Yeah, okay, if you've got the hook, somebody's bought into you, right, now you need to deliver, right? Whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know, you need to be good at what you're doing.
Good.
Yeah. Nowadays, the thing that you're good, the thing that brings value to an organization could just be that I've got millions of followers on Instagram because I'm an influencer, and that's enough sometimes.
Yeah.
But you're still good at it, aren't you? Because you've built millions of followers on Instagram. You're obviously doing something right.
Definitely.
But hey, if you're doing something like, for example, what I'm doing, I'm in music education. I have to be good at engaging young people for whatever duration of time. I have to be good at engaging young people specifically from more challenged circumstances. I have to be good at allowing them to access music in a less traditional or classical route, i.e. using technology, using like other forms of music like rap, beatbox, and those kind of curveballs. That's what I have to be good at. And that's what over 10 years I hope I have become good at, and that's why when people buy into me, I can provide that service.
But you demonstrate that with it's all supported by your technical expertise as well as your like creative understanding as well. I've watched you in some sticky situations, man, where something isn't working or the mic's not coming or whatever is happening, and there's something on loop in the background and you're just going with it and you're still engaging with people and they have no idea how deep a creek you're in because you're just making it work, because you know kind of what's going on in the back of your head, and you've got this kind of like front facing performance that's still keeping them hooked, but underneath you're plugging the cable into the right thing, or you're turning whatever effect down to make sure that it comes through properly. That's all backed by years of expertise and a wealth of knowledge about how it all works. and that is what makes you good, as well as that performance that engages them.
Totally appreciate that. And it's like somebody said, like the shop window's open. It says open, and the flowers are on the shop window, but in the background, like your order hasn't come through. For the client that's about to pick up their flowers. It's that kind of thing. Like your
flowers on fire.
Yeah, flowers are on fire. It's like you're putting the fire out, and then it still looks good in the front. It's that kind of thing. Or like a swan, like the classic swan looks beautiful on the surface, and the legs are just like, oh my gosh. But like you say, you have to know what you're doing to get to that point. But
100%.
But I learned quickly that you have to have the ability to still look like a swan while your legs are paddling desperately underwater when you're working with this cohort, my cohort, young people whose attention spans, are famously this big. The moment they see you flap, they're gonna use that and
lose confidence.
I've lost confidence in this guy.
He's not roasting you. Like
you just get roasted. Yeah.
Stand-up comic position.
Yeah.
You get heckled if you're not
exactly
than what they want.
And then you end up beefing a young person, and it's never good for your portfolio.
Coming back to what you were talking about, the working with young people with career kind of progression in mind, and you were saying like they've got to have the minerals.
Yes.
I think really to kind of frame it in more professional language, is creative. It's resilience, isn't it? It's having resilience as a creative, and
yes,
that gets tested constantly. Whether it's like in situ when you're delivering and your mic's not plugged in, and you've got young people who are ready to snap, or going back to the swan analogy, like your social media presence looks really good and like you're on it and like you're doing loads of stuff, but underneath those flapping legs are like the cash flows kind of that are bottleneck.
Hell yeah.
What are some moments that you've had, either kind of like light bulb moments where you're like, I need to switch that up and start approaching that differently to make it work, or what are moments that you maybe found yourself in that have been like a huge challenge, or you've made mistakes that might have actually influenced the way that you do things, and now you kind of take that with you?
Yeah, I guess not so much a mistake, but something I really valued, and had I not have had that thing, I would have felt like I was missing something hugely. And that is, I guess I don't want it to sound like a cop-out, but it was so valuable for me to have a part-time job that supplemented my life as a freelance educator and artist. And I've always had, when I say like, you talk about stability, like me as an artist, I rely on working with many different organizations. Like I said earlier, like it's all about, I work with that person, that person, that person, that person. Over time, that becomes like enough to support myself per month. Yeah. But there was always this 2 day a week or 1 day a week, or this other thing that I've always had where I'm kind of working for an organization, but that work directly aligns to the work that I'm doing as a freelancer anyway. So I'm still doing the music education, still the same art forms that I'm using. But that's always helped me. So like, I've worked with Pedestrian, big up Pedestrian, so much love for them. One of the first organizations that I ever worked with as a music educator. My first workshop was atrocious, but then on after I became pretty good. So thanks, guys. Thanks so much
For
believing in me.
You got Pedestrian back in.
So, part-time with those guys with freelance. Part-time with Talent Match, which was like with Pedestrian, but Princess Trust as well. Did that for a while. Part-time with Leicestershire Music now. I work with Leicestershire Music, but it all aligned and it all became the bigger picture together. And I feel like that's been my saving grace the whole time, because when you talk about stability, probably maybe if I didn't have those jobs, I'd be forced to do way more and think differently about how I would support myself per month. Now we're talking about supporting a wife, a child, a house, all of those things you do as an adult when you're adulting. So it's like I would have had to do something different had I not had those part-time roles.
Yeah, interesting. Word that I've come across recently with talking with a couple of business mentors about that's called segmentation. So it's something that I've never really considered before that I'm definitely going to start taking more seriously, where the person I was talking to said, you know, over a quarter, you split your segmentation into thirds. You split your workload into thirds. So you secure 1/3 is like a big project, a massive project, takes up the whole quarter.
Yeah.
Another third is maybe 3 medium-sized ones.
Yeah.
So you just do 1 a month. And then the other third is just kind of sporadic ad hoc things that maybe you just do in like a week or a couple of days or whatever. And they had a projection of this, and they know how the next 3 years are going to go.
Wow.
Because they're working on securing, there's constantly kind of behind the scenes sales work, securing those projects long term. I'm like, how'd you do that, man?
That is
The
incredible.
minute I'm just scatting around, it's like we've got kind of core retainer clients. That's amazing. That's that kind of baseline that you were talking about,
Yeah.
where you know that's kind of locked in, that's secure. We know that we're going to survive at least.
Yeah.
And then commissions come up, or I kind of upsell or pitch to other clients that we're working with and secure things like that. And I know that maybe, you know, that shoots in a month's time. I've got that then. But really, the understanding the wider landscape of like what your trajectory is going to look like is so blurry. And I think that's a business development plan can kind of ground you a little bit. But how do you kind of approach that, getting work and securing work? And obviously you've got your kind of stable part-time work, but how do the rest of the projects flow?
Honestly, the answer is deep faith. Like, I have no idea, bro. I have no idea. Somebody told me when I was starting off, and it was a creative, you know, like a mentor that came in to talk to us. I said, look, they were already being an artist, and they said, I don't know what I'm doing for the next month or two, but I always get the work, and I have faith that it always comes. Now I'm living that same thing that guy talked about back then. And it was, you know, sometimes you get a project which an organization has got the funding for, and they go, Shay, we want you to do it every week for 6 months. I'm like, great, I can see 6 months ahead now, at least for that section, and then I've got the part-time job as well. But most of the time, it's just like on a request basis. Shay, can you do this project? Yes. This one, cool. But I don't know sometimes what's going to happen next month. I just keep faith that it's going to work, and you kind of rest on your recommendation. You rest on how good your last workshop was, hoping that it's always been word of mouth for me. So I just, you know, have faith in the word of mouth that people, my network that I've built over 10 years has supported me so much. So big up all the organizations and people that have supported me and trusted my work to keep booking me and keep me going. Like I have immense gratitude for that. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I don't know what that projection looks like. And yeah, I had a kind of a business meeting with somebody who started me off, a mentor back in the day, Pat. It was amazing. And I kind of looked 10 years on from my business. I was like, Pat, what do I do next? Like, where am I going next? And that was me hoping to see further down the line, you know, actually try and have vision of what happens next. But until you've got big contracts that last the whole year, or in my work, that doesn't really happen. I still don't know what's happening next month, but all I know is that it will come, and it does come. So it's scary, and somebody said it's like jumping off a cliff and learning how to fly halfway. That's what it is. That is the arts.
That's exactly. That's the feeling, and you pit in your stomach every single month when you're looking at your invoices.
It's mad, isn't it?
The same feeling of free falling. But
Catch me. It's somebody catch me.
Again, it comes back to being good, and the persona that you sell or that you engage with in those kind of networks and communities speaks for itself. Like, you stick in people's heads, the quality of your workshops are so good that either they want to book you again, or someone else sees you delivering that and they want to book you. So we're in a similar position. We've always done really well on word of mouth, but then in the quiet months, I always get the fear of just like, maybe I should try and find some stuff, which I guess we're doing a bit more of now.
When the year started, I said 2025 is a year of being an artist again, because it's so easy for somebody in my position to just do education all the time, and you share skills, share skills, mainly on a basic level to get young people interested at a grassroots level to understand the basics of the art form that you're teaching them, and then you hope that they will then progress. You get the gears start to go in motion. That's my job as a facilitator. hopefully I give you inspiration, aspirations to do something musically. You learn the skills, you then go off and do it, hopefully. But then you could do that forever and forget that your sword is now becoming blunt because you're not using it. So being an artist is so important, and I've felt the need and hunger to go back into being an artist again this year. Put that statement out on my Instagram. 2025 is the year of being an artist. And with that, I manifested that I wanted to do more festivals. I wanted to do more performance stuff, more recording, and release things as an artist. That's the thing that got me in this position in the first place. And yeah, man, with the grace of God, it's happening. Like, we're getting into more festivals. I've got a little music collective called Mirchi Mob, and that's me doing poetry and rap, and then a DJ, Yumna Black, my good friend, and Harith Reddy as well, my good friend. We've come together and created like a tabla, DJ, poetry and rap set, which we want to now get out to loads of different festivals. So that's the arm that's allowing me to be an artist a bit more seriously. We're looking at marketing, we're looking at our branding, we're looking at our messaging, we're looking at getting out into more festivals. So yeah, I think that's keeping my sword sharp, and I'm so grateful that I get to do more festivals.
Amazing, man. It feels like you've come to a point where I think your whole journey, by the sounds of it, has come to points where things have kind of like crystallized for you, and it seems like a huge funnel where it's all, you just got all these random things, and then it falls into sexual education performance and then it explodes back out into workshops and education, and then it all kind of like crystallizes back into wanting to do more artistry. And then it's like each kind of time you level up, and with the influence of kind of like business mentorship as well, and also being a dad and the stakes being higher and having to provide and all of those things kind of driving it all forwards. It's hard to kind of define a point on a scale, I guess, but you're moving forwards, you're becoming more established. I mean, talk about you being established. Like every time I walk through Leicester with you, there's always someone who's like, Shay! I can't get a word into a conversation because you're so recognized. But if we're talking about that wider scale of recognition, you're doing it, man. And you're doing so well. And I think that the work speaks for itself. The different arms that you're developing have so much kind of promise and potential. Have you got any kind of closing thoughts on where that's gonna go, or what is the kind of golden thread through all of them that keeps you moving forward?
I said to myself early on in my career, I said, look, success, what is success? Yeah, what is success to me? To really evaluate what that is. At one point, it was being on stage, being in a I don't know, in a film or whatever it is, that glorified version of being an artist. It quickly then changed into, with a bit of reality, it changed into, I just want to be able to do music every day as a career and nothing else. Tick. Whatever form that takes. Is that music education? Is that being an artist? Is that getting commissions for poetry? Is that going back into film sometimes? I don't know, maybe. But that film being musically orientated, like that for me, whatever that version of music, however it manifests, that's success for me. And that's what I've achieved now through the Underground Creatives and doing my business as a freelancer. I'm doing that every single day, music, whatever form it takes, I'm doing it. Therefore, I've reached the maximum point, man. Obviously, we don't stop there. We then look for that big question moving forward now is, the other thing was being a scatterbrain. I think this is a kind of closing remark. I am a scatterbrain. People call it ADHD. Scatterbrain. My thoughts are everywhere. I've never been a person who can sit down and do the office job or the same thing every day. And because of that desire to always want variety, that's why I've made my career so varied. Like, I want to work for this person on that project, that person on that project, and I want an enriched, varied variety of of expression and education. That's where I want to be. So if you are a scatterbrain and you know you can't sit down still, then use that and invite variety into your life, you know. And finally, I was going to say something about the future, right? So I'm at a point now, 10 years plus, being a freelance artist. I learned that delivery is what really keeps me going. Delivery, being on the ground and doing the engagement work. That's what really makes me happy, right? So, but can I do that forever? I don't know. When I get old, I'm a dad, bro. We're dads, bro, and we know we get tired. So it requires a lot of energy to output that much in front of young people. So what's the next step, and how can I ensure that I can reduce my energy a little bit but still have high output? And I think where that's going to lead me eventually, especially in the music education side of things, it might be going down the kind of the packaged course type thing where, you know, I've always found it hard that I can't clone myself. I can get a team together, but I feel like the skills that I've learned and the USP is that I can do a lot of things, you know, from the beatboxing to the looping to the rapping to the poetry. That's what I offer in a session. Can I teach that easily to somebody else? Probably not. That they require 10 years of doing exactly what I did to get to that point. So is that ever gonna be bottled up and shared? Probably not. So what's the next outcome? Well, filming myself delivering these workshops and courses, and then possibly selling those out to schools, or mainly schools, or the public, to kind of get a dose of Shay on a screen or something. I think that's where it needs to go, because I think passive income is a really important thing, especially when you're like supporting a family. I think that's the way it might go, digital.
Yeah.
I'd never want to stop being on the ground, but you know, how long can I sustain that? So maybe looking at a digital platform and seeing I can educate through that still with my face.
Makes sense when, productizing your kind of product.
Yeah.
But it's an experiential product or service, to go back to that kind of term. So actually productizing it as a thing that you can sell like that is a way to, I think it's quite a clever strategy to be aware of your energy levels. And also I think my closing remarks were going to be that you're such a beautiful example of authenticity, sticking to its guns. You just, like you said, want to be a success in music, and you've worked out how your mind works and how to apply that, and you've made all those kind of things develop and evolve, and it's, like I said, kind of crystallized in these really satisfying moments where it's like you kind of root yourself as a creative entrepreneur. It seems like a natural kind of way forward to then bottle that, because the things that you can't bottle, and I think this, a lot of people go through this, I'm going through the same thing as well, is like, you have a team around you, that's amazing support, you can delegate things, you can all push it forward together, but the uniqueness of the way that your mind works and the way that you approach a project and shape the outcome is, you can't just teach someone that. You can't just be like, this is the way I think about it, this is how you should do it too, because they don't think like that. They've got their own unique kind of vision that they bring to stuff, and that's amazing. Really important to have that diversity. But being conscious of what you can and can't bottle is definitely the crux, and that's definitely the way that you need to find what the compromises are and work out what it is that can be something that diversifies like income streams, but adds threads to your bows as well.
It's a blessing and a curse, right?
Yeah.
Having that thing.
It's the best and the worst.
It's the blessing and the curse. It's the best and the worst. Oh, did you know that Rob is an MC, or was an MC?
We'll cut that bit out.
It's coming. But no, bro, it's been a journey, man, and we're here chatting about it 10 years plus later. So massive appreciation to you guys. Render Films for life, bro. Like, we've done a lot together, and I'm blessed to be sitting on this here orange very comfy, shiny and sticky couch right now.
Gonna have to peel ourselves on in a second.
It's hot, by the way. It's very hot.
It's so hot.
But yeah, no, it's an absolute blessing and an honor to have collaborated with you so much, bro. And like, it's just like having a fly on the wall of how we talk anyway, right? This is a perfect opportunity. It's cameras in the room.
Like we said, we should have pressed record the moment we came in the room, because there was so much gold in the half an hour before we even sat down.
The hour and a half before.
Yeah. We'll drop an extended version at some point. But yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate you coming along.
That's a wrap.
It's always a pleasure to talk to Shay. I think he's very self-aware that his own self-discovery as an artist hinges on that school project, which was meant to boost UCAS points and accidentally unlocked his career as a creative entrepreneur. Speaking of self-awareness, his refusal to be boxed into one role is not only a flex that creatives often have, but also a necessity. In Shay's case, it's him embracing being a beatboxer, poet, workshop facilitator, community artist, and that frees him to lean into a huge spectrum of projects. If you live in Leicester, you will have undoubtedly seen Shay performing in one of these roles. Despite his prolific artistry, his prolific artistic legacy, and being a well-known face in Leicester, I guess it's kind of reassuring on some level to hear that he still feels the same as all creatives do. That imposter syndrome, or being surrounded by more classically trained artists. I love that in all his wisdom, he still managed to turn this into a superpower. Shay's story resonates for a few different reasons. His faith and resilience in trusting work will come to him because of his consistent quality. And also that after years of success, he recognises for himself that he wants to return to his artistry and reclaim a space to sharpen his creative sword. Shout outs to Perfect Score, a project run by Pedestrian, a Leicester-based arts organisation who Shay and I have worked with many times over the years and still continue to do so. Kieran Vyas, our creative collaborator and filmmaker who runs Urban Young Actors. Image Nova, Orange Fox, and Created by 10 Leicester-based video production companies, and Film Leicester, which is an initiative run by Creative by 10. Asian Summer Festival in Leicester, run by the amazing people at Inspirate. Journeys Festival in Leicester, run by Artreach, and Leicestershire Music, an organisation that Shay works with. And of course, Merchy Mob, his music, poetry, DJ collective, who have also performed at Asian Summer Festival. They're amazing. Such a good vibe. If you want to see more of Shay, check out his Making Artwork mini documentary episode that we released alongside this podcast. And also I'll put other links to Shay's work in the show notes. I am Rob Heslop, and this has been Making Artwork, produced by Rendah Films. Thanks for watching.